I've had a special request for homemade buttermilk biscuits from my granddaughter visiting from Japan. Rosa, you've always wanted to learn how to cook homemade biscuits?
Yes.
Okay. It's really simple. There's only 3 ingredients to homemade buttermilk biscuits, and you really have to have the right ingredients for your biscuits to turn out right. First thing I'm going to do before we start mixing is I'm going to preheat the oven to 475 degrees. And by the time that oven gets hot, we're going to have these biscuits ready to cook.
Okay.
Here's what we need. We need self-rising flour. I like White Lily. That's some of the best there. If you have to use regular flour, you can get the instructions on the internet how to add salt and baking soda to turn that into self-rising. But the best thing to do is to get the self-rising flour. We're going to need Crisco or some vegetable oil. Originally, back in the old days, people used lard. But I like to use Crisco, and I keep the Crisco in the refrigerator to keep it solid. And then when I mix it with the flour, it kind of blends into the flour, and it makes it more moist.
Okay.
And then the last ingredient is buttermilk. We're going to be using just whatever buttermilk you can get. And if you do not have buttermilk, you can make an alternative by using regular milk, about a cup of regular milk and a tablespoon of vinegar, and just mix that up, and that'll work. Not as good, but it's a good supplement. So okay, we're going to get started here. We're going to use 3 cups of flour, a cup and a half of the buttermilk, and a little over 1/3 cup of the Crisco. Okay, Rosa, would you take some of the Crisco and let's put that in the pan. We're using a 12-inch cast iron skillet. Cast iron is a great medium to bake in. I really like making biscuits in this. It doesn't burn the bottoms of the biscuits as quickly as using a cookie sheet or something like that. So got it all around there. Okay. Now we're going to go and put some Crisco in the flour and blend it together. And we're going to use a little more than a third, less than a half, more than a third. So I use a pastry blender to do this. So we put that off in there. And we're going to get a little more. And I think that will be enough right there. And what we do with the Crisco in the flour is we just take it like this, and this blends the Crisco in with the flour. So you want to do that until there's no more of that Crisco showing.
Okay.
And like I said, you can use different oils. If you have to use a vegetable oil, it's the same process. You just blend it together. With the Crisco, you keep working it into the flour until it's gone. Okay, let's pull it out.
Okay.
Clean it off a little bit. We've probably got a few pieces left in there. You can stir it around to look. Nope, you're good. The next step is to add the buttermilk, and I like to just make a little pocket in the middle of the flour or something like that. And we've got the 1 1/2 cup of buttermilk already measured out. And this is where you just want to blend it together. You're not really mixing it like a cake mix.
Okay.
You just kind of real easy blending it, because another secret to making biscuits is the less you work the flour, the better it is. Because
Okay.
if you start working it a lot over and over, it's going to make your biscuits a little bit tough. So let me bring the camera in and we'll get a better view of this, and we'll blend that together. So we'll just take the buttermilk and start gently working it into the flour, going around like that. And as you go, you want to make sure you get all the way to the bottom. Okay. Oops. You want to work some of that, and I'll pour the the buttermilk in is you just work right around the bowl, getting all the way to the bottom. It's okay to use your hands doing this as well if you feel more comfortable. Just using your hands to get down in there and work that buttermilk and flour together. Okay, and then right off in the middle, you probably have some dry flour at the bottom. Yeah, it does get kind of stuck to your spoon, but just keep going. It'll work out. Does it still feel like it's a little dry in here?
Yes.
Now, can you buy biscuits in Japan? Have you been to a restaurant or somewhere to get those?
Yes, I think somewhere. I've never been to buy some biscuits.
Okay. What kind of bread do you eat in Japan? Or do you eat bread?
Yes.
There is?
There is some, I don't know what called in English, but there's a...
Is it like sliced bread?
Yes,
sliced bread.
Yes.
Do they slice it real thick?
Yeah, some of them is very thick.
Yeah.
But normally it's thin.
Yeah. Here we call that Texas toast when you get the sliced bread and that's real thick.
Okay.
Think we're all done? Okay, let me take us to the next step. I'm gonna get all that sticky dough back down in there. And one last look to see if there's anything dry remaining in the bottom of the bowl. My normal recipe is 2 cups, Rosa, but since we've got some extra people that's extra hungry today, we've gone to 3 cups. That's gonna make about a dozen biscuits.
Wow.
Normally 2 cups would make about 7 biscuits. Okay. Now we're going to put some flour on our surface, and all this is going to do is to keep the biscuit dough from sticking to our board. And you want to put a little bit of flour on your fingers there because that'll keep it from sticking to your fingers. And feel it. Does that feel kind of sticky?
Yes.
It should feel sticky. It should not be dried out. But you can adjust that with the amount of buttermilk you use. If it's too dry, add a little more buttermilk. If it's extremely watery, then you can sprinkle some flour on it. But try not to sprinkle a lot of flour on it like that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of pat this out. And if it gets kind of sticky, just come back and pick up some flour around the sides on your fingers. I'm going to pat it out a little bit. And I have a turning, this is a pastry turner or dough worker. It's just a piece of plastic. Mm-hmm. You could use your hands, but it gets kind of messy. But this works pretty well. And you just want to turn the dough. Make sure you keep a little flour down on the surface. Get it back around. And then pat that out gently. Pat it out a little bit and kind of make a rectangle out of it. Okay, let me give you a hand. You can go a little bit more because we're going to end up with a dough ball about 3/4 of an inch thick. A little more flour if you need some on your fingers. Okay, let me work this again. And what I'm doing here with the folding it, you can call this kneading because in bread that has yeast in it, you always knead that to get the yeast into the dough. But I'm just folding this, and what that's going to do is put layers in your biscuit to make it softer.
Okay.
If you don't do that, your biscuit is probably not going to rise as high, and it might be a little hard. All right, got that folded out. You want to use our pastry device and try to just bring it halfway up like you're folding that. Okay, and then just use your hand around the sides to shape it and then back down. Push it back down. And I'll do that anywhere from 3 to 4 times. Fold it about 4 times. A little sticky?
Yes.
Okay. Let me do it one more time and then we're gonna move on to the next step. It's always important to keep your surface dry because your dough has a tendency to just stick a lot. And I'm going to bring this down and get it ready to cut the biscuits. I like to go somewhere around a 1/2 inch thick on the dough. And see, it's still a little sticky there. Now let me cut one and see how it's going to work. I just start at the edge with a cookie cutter. I put a little flour on that so it won't stick as much. And try not to twist it, just get it like that and lift it out and put it right in there. Okay, so you can work your way around through there and cut a few out. Good. We want the biscuits to be just about, well, touching each other, because when the biscuits are touching and they're cooking, it makes them want to rise up. Okay? So we'll go ahead and cut out the rest of these biscuits. Okay, Rosa, that's a great job. We've got 3, 6, 9, we've got 10 biscuits there. We're gonna put them in the oven, 475 for about 18 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, Rosa, you've got the sausage going. They're just about finished,
Yes.
browning up and ready to go. As they finish off, let's go ahead and take the biscuits out of the oven because I think they're done. Right, here's the biscuits coming out. 18 minutes is what we had, Rosa, and I think they browned up real well.
Well.
Let's get one on a plate and see how it tastes. Okay, Rosa, you want to try one?
Yes. Okay.
They came out thick and they look like they're fluffy. How's that?
It's very good.
Are those keepers? You think you're going to be able to make these when you get back to Japan now?
Yes, I would try.
All right, when you make them, send me a photograph. Thanks, Rosa, for helping me out with this. Bye.
ありがとうございました。さようなら。
Thanks, everyone, for watching. Rosa and I appreciate it. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. And I'll see you next time.